food is so emotional and it makes us feel a certain way. Especially people from different cultural backgrounds, they think, oh my God, my whole culture, my whole identity is about like these gatherings and my family gatherings, and they all surround some entree of meat. Like what is healthy? I've always struggled with just like what to eat. Like going vegetarian as like a 12, 13-year-old was like the rebel move.
What kind of milk does your son drink?
Every single day there is a moment of like, holy...
I want to start from the beginning.
Sure.
What made you become vegan in the first place?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever talked about this publicly, but I don't mind to.
Welcome back to the OnlyMoms podcast. Today we have Lauren Toyota in the studio. Lauren is living the dream as her very own modern day media outlet, having seamlessly transitioned from close to 10 years as a national television host and producer to independent self-made content creator. Since 2014, she's been creating authentic and engaging content on her YouTube channels, Lauren in Real Life and Hot for Food. Lauren is a badass single mom of a 2.5-year-old boy. And you can find Lauren's famous recipes on hotforfoodblog.com and the Hot for Food YouTube channel, which now has nearly 448,000 subscribers and over 43 million channel views since launching in 2015. Lauren is a best-selling author of 2 cookbooks with 10 speed press, Penguin Random House, Vegan Comfort Classics 101 Recipes to Feed Your Faith. And her second cookbook, Hot for Food All Day, Easy Recipes to Level Up Your Vegan Meals. Among other accolades, Lauren Toyota was named Canada's most influential vegan by Impact Magazine in 2017 and one of the powerhouse Canadian women killing it in 2018 by Refinery 29. Before becoming a vegan culinary innovator, recipe developer, and content creator, Lauren hosted MTV Canada's After Degrassi. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Do you know what Degrassi is?
No, I don't.
It's very Canadian.
I know. I'm not. And what's so funny is my dad actually lives in Canada.
Oh.
He's in Thunder Bay.
Oh, my God.
Along with my sisters and my stepmom.
That's crazy.
But I haven't watched.
Do you go to Thunder Bay? It's so far. It's hard to get to.
It's very far. I do go. I don't go for Christmas any longer because I often get stuck at the Toronto airport, and that's no way to live life with a child.
No.
So, yeah, I have actually been convincing everyone to come to me more, which has been great. But, yeah, all the Canadian things other than their TV.
Yeah, the TV's pretty niche, and we have these, like, CanCon rules. So you have to always have, like, a certain amount of, like, Canadian content on the air, radio and television.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, like, music-wise, you have to play Canadian artists 30% of the time, I think.
Is that why you guys play Drake so much?
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah. Power 106 in LA plays Drake even more than in Canada.
And you're like, what are the rules about Canadians here in LA specifically and Drake?
You just must get the ratings. I don't know.
I think the most important thing we need to start with, because I did see you eat Taco Bell, and I need to know what's the vegan Taco Bell order?
Yeah. So I don't know if you realize this, but I only ate Taco Bell like really for the first time, I think this year or late last year, because they brought in this vegan nacho cheese sauce. And that was really my only motivation to really go there and try it. Now it's not available, unfortunately. But my friends from LA who are American, they swear by Taco Bell. So do
my children.
Yeah, a lot of musicians, touring musicians who are vegetarian also rely on Taco Bell because it's like one of the only things you can get on the road fast food wise. So you can get the chalupas or like any of the stuff with just the beans, which are vegan, no cheese, no sour cream. So it's like a bean thing with lettuce, tomato. That's pretty much it. And bread.
Okay. No sauces.
You can have that hot sauce, which I guess everyone loves. I'm not that big of a fan. They have the mild, medium, hot.
You can do the mild too?
I can do mild or whatever it might be, the lowest one. But I don't find it that tasty. So I had my first Baja Blast even just recently.
How was that experience? Because my kids cracked out on Baja Blast all the time.
I don't know why I've been sleeping on this. I'm addicted. I love that you can get a slushy thing. I've never tasted anything like it. It's so artificial, but it tastes so good. And the blue color is very attractive. It's probably problematic if you have kids and you know about it. I'm not going to show my kid that drink.
Don't ever. I swear, I have twins that are 17.
Wow.
And then a 21-year-old. And Yeah, the twin boy is, I think that he snorts Baja Blast in his bedroom and then comes down and like pokes me 500 times in the temple. And, but he gets good grades.
That's good.
And
that's good.
yeah,
Fueled and credited to Baja Blast, I guess.
Right.
It's like
right.
Adderall for teenagers.
Yes. And I want to thank Baja Blast for getting me to wherever the hell he's going to go in his wonderful little life. But, okay. I want to start from the beginning.
Sure.
What made you become vegan in the first place?
Yeah. I've always struggled with just like what to eat. Like what is healthy? Healthy is such an weirdly interpretive, subjective thing.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, I'm very much like the rebel. I don't like to do what anyone else does. So going vegetarian as like a 12, 13-year-old was like the rebel move, which is what I did. If anyone remembers, like Lisa Simpson from The Simpsons became a vegetarian, that was like my era. So I think that I was influenced by that. Also influenced by musicians and people in the music business, because it felt like very alternative to go vegetarian. A lot of the female musicians of the time or whatever were vegan or vegetarian, really. So that I went vegetarian and then felt very guilty eating animals. I'm a huge animal lover, and I knew that it was weird to be eating them. So as my life developed and I grew up, in college I got lazy and I went back to eating meat. Drinking all the time, partying all the time, eating chicken fingers, eating fast food. Like I completely gave up on life.
But it was your college era.
Era, yeah.
We all had that. It's like, what did you do in college? Boys and chicken fingers.
This pretty much was my entire
alcohol
college. Like the schooling part was so easy. I actually went to, so in Canada we have university and community college. I went to community college, which was only 2 years because I knew I wanted to work in music or the music industry or something like that. So I just wanted to fast track. I didn't want to go like do academics and waste all this time and not have a job. So that was my MO. So it was party all the time. Drink chicken fingers. You're totally right. It's really funny. Chicken fingers are my vice. Even now as a vegan, I'm obsessed with vegan chicken fingers.
Okay.
It's like it's more the breading and just maybe the nostalgia.
Are the Impossible Nuggets vegan?
Yeah.
Oh, they're so good. Have you tried them with yum yum sauce?
No. What's yum yum sauce?
Oh my gosh. You need to make a vegan yum yum sauce.
Kind of like Thousand Island or like?
It is orange like Thousand Island. They do it at a lot of like the hibachi restaurants. So Japan, Japanese influenced sauce.
I'll look it up. I can't believe I don't know what yum yum sauce is.
I know. So you need to do the Impossible Nuggets with yum yum sauce, and it's like game changer.
I'm not sponsored by Gardein, but my favorite are the Gardein Ultimate Chicken Fingers. They're like,
really?
They're like, I don't know what you like, almost like pub style. The breading is very chunky and crispy on the outside. Those are my favorite. So college happens, early life happens. I did go vegetarian again and then like struggled. I watched around 2008, 2009, this documentary called Food Inc., which the author Michael Pollan is involved in. And people may know Michael Pollan because he's done a huge Netflix special. He's written a lot of books. His whole philosophy is eat good food, mostly plants. But The Omnivore's Dilemma was his book. I also read at that time that Food Inc. came out. And it really was just about like, by eating meat, you're really contributing to this cruel system and this system that's sort of playing us all. Like it's conning us into thinking these animals are sitting in grassy fields with this great quality of life. And that's not the case. So it really just hit home at the time. Like, okay, I have to make a change. Plus I was getting very physically unwell from eating animal products, and I just ignored it because I felt I developed into a bit of a foodie who wanted to try everything, but then I would feel sick after, and it like really wasn't worth it. So by that point, watching the doc made me go like, no, I'm changing this. I want out of this like system. And I just over a couple of months took out one thing at a time, cheese being last, because I was always like, I would never give up cheese. And I read this book, which sounds kind of bad to call it this. It's called Skinny Bitch. Like, this would never fly now. But at the time, that book came out by a female author, and she talked about the addictive drug-like quality of cheese.
Wow.
That's what actually is what we are addicted to and why we can't give it up. And I was like, well, I'm no drug addict.
Right. I am not.
So that really influenced me to just like get it through my head that like, no, I don't want to be kind of in this like toxic cycle. Plus I feel ill. I'm lactose intolerant. I'm half Asian. You're half Asian.
Yeah.
Are you lactose intolerant?
I'm not.
Okay, good.
But a lot of Asians are.
Yeah. So I am, and just like took Lactaid to eat ice cream, and like obviously needed to know where the facilities were every time I went to a restaurant or went out to eat. It was really annoying. And I thought, I had this like perception like everyone must deal with this.
No, my children do. And it's immediate.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. So I really needed to make a change. So that's what I did. And by January 1st, 2010, I was committed to being vegan and never looking back.
Wow.
And I never looked back. Around this time, I was blogging what I was doing, like how I was transitioning to veganism under the name Hot for Food. And I had a little blog that was very amateur looking. It wasn't polished or anything, but it was just a way for me to almost keep this diary of just my journey. And weirdly, people started reading it and looking at the recipes I was making. So I thought, oh, this is interesting. I knew nothing about this.
Yeah.
At this time was working in broadcast television. So I was coming from this like traditional media background, and blogging to me seemed like way out of left field. So I just let it be a hobby, continued on with my TV career until I lost my TV job and worked on this full time. So it's been 10 years now of doing that.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I think that a few things that you mentioned, I like your story because you talked about the struggle. I think a lot of people put so much emphasis on having to quit immediately everything.
Yeah.
You know, and that is not a lifestyle change, right? That is like a detox. You know, I don't think that that's realistic. And when we talk about the cycle, I have a few stats. It was interesting to me because I'm also an animal person, but someone that's not an animal person, when we talk about climate change and what it's doing to the environment, eating 40 kilograms of meat damages the climate about as much as an economy trip between San Francisco and Seattle. That's crazy.
The science is out there. I mean, the UN declared the #1 contributor to climate change being animal agriculture. And then I think a lot of these industries do a really good job at sidelining everybody and getting them to pay attention to transportation and electric vehicles. But even all of the other things combined is not as dramatically impactful as animal agriculture is.
Yeah. Yeah. And if everyone in the U.S. cut meat consumption by 25%, it would reduce the annual greenhouse gas emissions by 1%.
Yeah, you can make an actual difference with what you get to choose what you're eating 3-5 times a day. It makes a massive difference.
I also think it's important because so many vegans, I do feel like you guys get a rap.
Definitely. You know? And I was very aware of that.
Yeah. You guys get a rap. You're a little pushy with it. Right. And, you know, a lot of people feel judged by the vegans. And I feel like the goal should be like, okay, how can we just decrease the amount of meat that you're eating?
Yeah, you know? I was very aware of the preachy vegan, the angry vegan, the sort of like protest vegan, the anti-fur vegan, like these more extreme identities. And I very much wanted to distance myself from that from the beginning, because one of the last impediments to me actually making this choice was kind of that social acceptance part. Like I didn't want to be perceived a certain way. And I wanted to really bring kind of a new vibe, coolness to veganism. That was my whole point with creating the name Hot for Food, and what I was kind of sharing online is I wanted it to be approachable. I shared my journey of like the slow transition. I only focused on food for the first few years. I didn't even worry about what I was wearing, the cleaning products, the makeup, because again, all of that feels like
it's overwhelming.
Holy hell, like how am I going to do this? It feels like everything I do is a problem, which ultimately it is. Right. We can never win.
I am the problem.
But it took me a long time to just get to those next levels. And I think everyone goes on their own journey. And I'm happy if people just make the choice to do meatless Mondays or one meatless vegan meal a day out of the 3 they're eating. Again, all of it makes an impact. I, of course, am hardcore. Like, I know the information. But I don't go around spewing it all the time, because I want my entry point to be the food. Like for me, it's like, look at the pictures of this food. Let me cook for you. I'm getting more into that now, where I want to actually feed my food to people. But I've spent a decade teaching people how to do it themselves. And I've made an impact. And people feel like a lot of my audience isn't vegan. They're vegetarian or they're veg curious, but they do now incorporate these things into their everyday life, or they get their family members to try them because I'm providing the good recipes and the tasty food. So I just want the conversation really to be about the food. And for people to not feel like they're being deprived of the things they love, because food is so emotional and it makes us feel a certain way.
Yeah,
and people
you feel
think,
good.
especially people from different cultural backgrounds, they think, oh my God, my whole culture, my whole identity is about like these gatherings and my family gatherings, and they all surround some entree of meat. But it's like you can get substitutes, you can make things with plants.
I think with Mom Juice, we have the same approach, right? The newer generations, they're not these, you know, sommeliers who go and swirl in Napa. We need a less intimidating experience, and we want to know what's going into our bodies.
I like that.
Because when you go to the wine aisle, it is intimidating. And then if you care about what you're consuming, we're one of 8 wineries that have the ingredients on the back of the bottle. And
that's all there is? That's only 8 wineries?
Do you want to know the amount of chemicals that are...
Good point. It doesn't have the ingredients. I've never really... I've never noticed that.
But people laugh when we say, yeah, we have vegan, vegetarian wine. And they're like, isn't it all wine? And we're like, no, you've been drinking fish bladder.
Yeah. Thank you. See? You're on it.
Yeah.
Well, or egg white.
Yep.
Egg white too.
Yep. Let's cheers to your book. Let's cheers
you.
to your entry into veganism, vegetarian, you know, whatever it is for that person, because I feel like we need somewhere to go. Like if I want to do a meatless Monday, I need your book.
Or my blog. My blog's got all kinds of free recipes. And that's the thing. I would just like people to start incorporating these things. I would like people to not just turn their nose up because the word vegan or plant-based is in front of something. And I think that's a huge hurdle that I've still, over a decade of doing this, 14 years actually of being vegan, have noticed is the thing. As soon as I say, oh, it's vegan cheese or it's plant-based cheese, and I think we've come a long way. I started when we had no Beyond Meat, we had no Impossible, we had virtually nothing in the grocery store. And so I've seen the huge amount that of progress we've made with technology, with companies investing in different types of you know, technologies and methods to do this. So we've seen it come so much further, but there's still so much work to do because people have this impression of what plant-based food is going to taste like, unfortunately. So I still feel like my work is never done.
No, you've got a big message to spread. Yeah. But is your son vegan?
He is. Yeah. It was always important to me that if I was going to raise a child, they would be vegan because I'm vegan. Yeah. You know, he was a big boy, almost 10 pounds. He's really healthy.
Gosh.
And I think just that to prove to people, because again, I share what my kid eats online sometimes for curious viewers. And you have to get a lot of negative comments. Oh, you're killing your child. You're murdering. Like, it's extreme. They're extreme. There's this perception that they're somehow going to be malnourished or missing something. But I have to say, I find it odd to see children gnawing on animal bones. They're just entered this planet and we're giving them this, like, dead meat. We don't, you know. So for me, it's just, I eat this way. Here's how we're eating. And I haven't run into any issues, any problems. I mean, picky eating's picky eating no matter what you're feeding them. So, you know, I'm at that phase now a little bit, but...
You're also co-parenting, so he's vegan when he's not at your house as well.
As far as I know, but I don't think it's as strict. Like, I've seen him eating goldfish crackers, or he knows what goldfish crackers are, so he's gotten those somewhere. His dad is a little lazier when it comes to, like, checking ingredients and stuff, and he's not into food the way I am. So it's just a part... I was so upset about it at the beginning, like how I'm going to control this because I'm a control freak.
Same.
And I've had to just let go of it, pick my battles. I know he's... So yeah, to say, is my kid 100% strict vegan? Probably not. But you know what? I'm doing my best. And I can only control what I can control.
Is your ex vegan?
No, he's vegetarian or pescatarian. When he was with me, he would happily eat vegan, but I think he just... something doesn't click when he's out on his own and he'll decide to eat fish or dairy or whatever. But notoriously, he was terrible at looking at ingredients. And I thought, after being with me for many years, you'd think you would know to just look for like milk powder on the back of something. And he just doesn't. I don't know.
How long were you guys together?
Almost 5 years.
5 years. Okay.
And then we split up when my child was about 9 months old.
9 months.
And all for the better. I'm very happily co-parenting, single momming it. Like, I'm definitely know everything happened for a reason. And
of course,
as much of a struggle as it was, I feel kind of like this was meant to be. It feels weird to say that, but I almost anticipated this was going to be the case when I decided to have a kid later in life. Yeah. But I knew he'd have a dad in his life who wouldn't leave. Like, we weren't going to end up in a scenario where the dad was like fucking off. So yeah, It's the most important thing for his dad to be in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And we're figuring out living arrangements and whatnot because we are both expats. We're both from Canada.
Wow.
Working here on visas.
Okay.
So that arrangement may change in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure, especially if what happens in November is Trump. We might leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just us, though. Yeah. It may not be wise for us to stay in this country.
Yeah. No. I mean, I think that makes sense. But I guess it is good that you picked a baby daddy that also would have to go back to Canada
with me. Yeah.
Right? Like, all right, we've got to go.
He kind of also wants to. He's actually, I want to stay in LA. If I had it my way, I'd stay in LA if everything could work out perfectly. But I moved here just before COVID. And so I feel like I never really got my feet wet in the way I had anticipated because 6 months of being here, we had lockdown.
Oh, wow.
I know. So I finished this book that's in front of you, this second cookbook. I finished it in the house I got in LA. I was in a really good position with my business financially and everything. And I had the freedom to move here and make this like LA dream come true that I had had since I worked in television. And then COVID happened and I thought, oh God, I haven't met anybody. Like I haven't networked.
Yeah.
I haven't really put myself out there. And I'm only just starting to do that this year. And I feel like I need more time. But yeah, again, my business has sort of pivoted. I didn't anticipate having a kid. That was not part of my, like I planned to have a kid when I made the decision, but I didn't move here thinking I'd have a family. That was not part of the vision at the time.
I saw some of your earlier content that you didn't.
Yeah, I was very adamant that I was never going to have children.
What was that switch like for you? When did that happen?
Well, I did this, and this is, I don't think I've ever talked about this publicly, but I don't mind to. But I decided that the way I was going to procreate was donating my eggs to my gay friend. Oh. And I decided this many years ago, and it finally came to fruition in 2021. So I went through with that process. And not only, I believe in the universe, and I believe in signs, and I believe in really just like following my heart and like being open to change. If anyone knows change, it's me. Like my life flips upside down every year practically. But I went forward with this egg donation and I was pumped full of these hormones. A year prior to that, I had been really struggling about the decision to be child free or not because I hate even saying, but the fact that there is a biological clock for me and for a lot of women is a real reality. Like I was like, oh my God, this is happening. And I was trying to fight it. I was like, no. But I could tell my body was just like, I want a baby. And there was this like thing that just kept coming up. Like, you need to have a baby. You want to have a baby, but you're ignoring it. You have all this resistance. It was like the head and the heart weren't connecting. But I think by way of doing this process with the egg donation, I thought that was going to quell that. Like I thought, I'll do this and that'll be the end of it. Like that's what my, offering is to the world, to my friend. But around that time in the post sort of thing of doing that egg donation, I was like, ding, I had like a true light bulb surrender moment around a full moon that was like, just shut up, like just do this thing. You want to do this. It was like a message coming from my higher self, and I listened to these messages and they happen, here and there throughout my life, and they've guided me this whole time. So I was like, all right, if like this is the message, so fine. And it was like a split second flip of like, yep, now this is what you want. And then I'd already been very fertile from these drugs. So I got pregnant right away.
Wow.
Like the second time I tried.
What advice do you have for women that are on the fence about becoming a mother?
This is so hard because I hate giving advice because everyone's on their own journey and you can't influence it. But as someone who was so stubbornly against it and really was like, no, especially with my vegan mission, it was very much like bringing a child into this world is stupid. You're creating another mouth to feed. The world's going to hell in a handbasket. Like I was really thinking about all these outside influences and I have a very like, I have to solve the world's problems mentality, which is crazy, and it's overwhelming. But like that's sort of where I live a lot of the time. So it didn't feel like having a child was like the so-called just right, the right thing to do. And I couldn't deny, again, like an internal, just like knowing or like a higher knowing. And I'm not saying that everyone can get that or that that's going to happen for you. Of course, all the things I heard growing up, you're going to change your mind. Having a child's the best thing you could do. You've never felt love like this before. All these cliche, the things you hear your whole life. I was like, absolutely not. Again, I don't like doing what everyone else does. But as I was approaching 40, like I was 39 when I made this decision, had the kid at 40, it really just led me that way, and I had to listen. And I'm so glad I did. Of course, I have zero regrets. Like
that's what they need to hear, is that once it's done, you don't regret it.
And I didn't believe people who said that. I thought, no way. It's the biggest. It's the thing you could do that would ruin your life the most. Right. I thought people are ruining their lives.
Yeah.
No, I mean, part of the reason was the struggle was like, I'm almost 40. What am I going to do till I'm 80? I'm going to be bored out of my skull. What am I going to do? I can only achieve so much. I can only hustle so much. I'm not going to be happy with money and a nice house. Like what, it was that reality of like, you think you want certain things and it comes down to like more of a simple answer. And like having a child has been extremely fulfilling. And I have to say, for like, from a personal development standpoint, I had this inkling from my friends having kids that like, having a kid is the thing that makes people actually enlightened. And like, I don't think I'm necessarily there yet, but I can see how that's very true having had a kid, because it makes you think completely differently about yourself, and you completely transform in a way that you can't do without going through this. And I think it's ultimately part of like a woman's journey, practically, like to go to, like, if the biological things are all lining up for this to happen, it almost felt like a disservice to not honor the biology. Again, I'm not religious. I'm not anything. But like, this is I'm speaking just about myself. Like, I can't put words in your mouth. But for me, denying that was more of a struggle than just opening and surrendering to like what was my nature. And I didn't even think I'd be a good mom. I was so afraid. Like, I thought I was going to have massive postpartum depression. I thought all the worst things.
I also thought I was going to have postpartum depression. And I wonder if that's something in like our personality traits of over planning and preparing, that it was like, guess what? I'm going to plan for the worst. I'm going to be suicidal, and I'm going to have to get through this.
This is what I thought.
Yeah. I mean,
thought that too.
Did you experience postpartum depression?
No, not in the way I had friends of mine and people close to me describe what they had gone through. And I had read everything about hysteria or what is that, like, you almost go into psychosis. Some women have hallucinations, like it becomes very extreme.
The rage
I mean, I had rage, but rage is just part of my makeup anyway.
Rage is part of my personality, but I more so had it like, doubled.
You did?
Towards my husband, never towards my baby.
Okay, thank you. I was starting to read this book, How to Not Hate Your Husband After Having a Child, or something like that. There was a book that was called How to Not Hate Your Husband.
It's different.
Well, I wasn't married, by the way, but obviously I'm in that same situation.
Right.
I mean, I don't think the relationship was healthy for me regardless of having a kid, but having a kid certainly exasperated all of the problems.
Okay.
And made very clear all the things I just decided to ignore previously. So I struggled with that, and I was mad, but I just felt like it didn't feel like out of character for me, the rage. It actually felt very in character. So I didn't think anything was wrong.
You're like, this is who I am.
Except I was being accused of having issues by him, and I just don't think that that's the truth. I really don't. I really thrived as a mom immediately. This is what surprised me the most about myself, which I think is the huge growth from it, is I took this on like the way I do anything else.
Like a champion.
Like a fucking
winner.
Champion, like a winner.
Yep.
And felt so good about it.
Yep.
Thank God for hormones. I really felt the hormones surging in like a positive direction, like giving me that strength, giving me that alertness, giving me that like, I'm already hypervigilant. So I had all the makeup for doing this job really well.
Right.
I'm really proud of myself, because I thought I was going to be flat on the floor, unable to function. And that was the complete opposite. And then to then be accused of having some mental health issues after, when I'm like, I'm completely thriving. What are you talking about?
You guys are crazy.
So I felt very gaslit. Yeah. And unfortunately, that became the demise of everything. And I had, had to end. I couldn't deal with that.
Oh, no, I understand that. I mean, how long did it take you to get back in the dating world?
Well, about a year, just under a year since the split, because we split up when the kid was 9 months, around January of 2023. And I guess I started going on the apps in the fall. So less than a year. Okay. I've now quit the apps.
What are the apps? What are the new ones?
I had all of them. Bumble, Tinder, Hinge, plus some vegan ones. One is called Grazer. One is called Vegly. And they're dead. There's nobody on them.
Okay.
There literally is no one. Like
Really?
maybe 2 people, and then it's like, you've seen everyone there is.
Wow.
I mean, vegans, vegetarians are like 7% of the population or 6%.
Right.
So imagine how many singles there are
Yeah.
just in this little city.
Is that a requirement of your partner?
At this point, I think so. I don't want to say like never, never say never, but I'd have a really hard time dating someone who was very adamant about eating meat for their health or for their physique or for any of these things. I couldn't, I can't deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not in your life.
I won't allow it in my
style.
house, and I certainly don't want to sit across from you while you're mowing down on chicken wings or steak. I really don't.
That makes sense. I also feel like, oh God, I couldn't imagine being back in the dating world right now, and then to add that layer of like, now you have to be a vegan.
And the vegan guys are, again, not all vegan guys, but
what are they? When you say,
they're just not
manly.
Yeah, and you know what? I hate fucking saying that because it's going in that same trope of like, you need to eat meat to be a man.
Right.
That's not true at all, but like,
you can eat tofu and chop lumber. Like, where is that guy?
You absolutely can. And look, I've got friends, they're not single, who are built, and some of them are even like, they're not, I wouldn't call them like a good friend, but people in the community who I know are like fitness people and what do you call those muscle competitions?
Oh yeah,
like this guy Torrey Washington, who I've worked with and collaborated with in the past, he's fit, and that's his whole platform, is promoting the plant-based diet looking the way he does. So it can be done. I just find, I don't know where you find, I'm not saying I even want someone who's got that physique, I actually don't, but I do need just like someone who's cool. I find there's not very many cool vegan guys. Hey, if you're listening, prove me wrong. Like, I slide into the DMs. I literally have a real hard time coming across people. And if they are, I already know them and I respect them and they're partnered, and that's great. And I am so proud of them. But yeah, I don't come across, it's mostly women in the community.
Have you ever tried speed dating?
Okay, I've been wanting to try this. I keep getting emails from City Swoon.
Okay, I've never heard of them, but I have this weird new obsession with speed dating, and I think it's just because talking to the single people now, and obviously not being single, I'm like, why don't we just take it back?
Take it like old school.
Yeah, old school. Like, why don't we
they're
speed
happening.
date?
Yeah, they're happening, and I want to create a bit of a vegan dating, speed
That would
dating
be cool.
scenario. I've been talking to someone about doing an event anyway, not dating, but then adding, the more we develop my events, making one a singles night. We've talked about this. So, of course, as you know, you're probably never short of ideas, but it's like, where do you find the time to do them? So that's one of my issues. But yeah, the speed dating is happening, and I have yet to do it, but I'm definitely open to doing it. I need to go with a girlfriend, though. I don't want to go by myself.
You have to go with someone.
These ones from City Swoon happen all over the city, like all the different areas.
Wow.
So that it's like, if you're going to Santa Monica, hopefully you live in Santa Monica.
Right.
Because we know in LA, this is a big problem of the distance.
Yeah. No, and it's interesting because I've convinced my husband that we should go speed dating and do like a role play situation because I'm just so obsessed with the speed dating now. I'm like, oh my gosh.
They must have speed dating, like entrepreneur network type events.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Also,
like that could be
not short of ideas. I don't have time to start that, but someone listening that needs a side hustle.
Yeah, like Bumble. I went to a Bumble event in Toronto once that was networking for business and friendship, because Bumble has those functions on their platform. Yeah.
That's really cool. I really like that. What is it like going through a breakup in the public eye?
Ugh, I've done it twice now. Yay
Okay.
me. The first one was actually bad because he was very involved in Hot for Food. If you look at some of the old content, and people know this who follow me, John was very much the brand of Hot for Food with me. I had started it without him, but he was like the person that I found who I absolutely fell madly in love with, who I wanted to be part of my life in every way. And creatively, we were in line. He wanted to go vegan because of me. And I was like, it was honestly a business strategy or like a marketing strategy. Oh my God, we should be this cute couple talking about veganism. Like, honestly, that's why I brought him in. But then he got involved to the point where like, now
they're going to have to watch this.
Yeah, thankfully on paper, we were never actually co-owners of a business. I actually owned the business, but it was messy. we weren't married, but again, we were kind of in like a marriage-like arrangement. We bought a house, we renovated a house, you know, we did the business together. Like we were very much intertwined. So I did all of this publicly. At this point in my career, I was vlogging everything. I loved John so much, I wanted everyone else to love John and see him online. So that's the mistake we make, is we put it all out there and then it bites us in the ass. But it's okay. At the time, I was devastated and didn't want to talk about it for months and months. I'm over it now. It taught me so much. Talking about it publicly actually gave me a lot of healing too. So it's
I'm
like,
sure.
It's all, you know,
out
in the lawn. It's all in the wash. Who cares? But that's tough. I mean, it's really tough because you're grieving. You're so devastated, and you hate, you know, this idea of being perceived is awful, especially when you're hurt.
Yeah. And then other people have opinions, which are just so strange to me.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I saw on some of your stuff, like people writing comments about you blurring your son's face out, but do you do that for the membership? And, you know, using him on.
I put him on the membership, and that was specifically to make money. I'm not going to lie. I mean, his face out to the hardcore fans who are giving me money and supporting my business. Yeah. They have every right to see my child. They've seen every other part of my life. Yeah. I don't know. That's like a very small monetization. There are women and mothers out there using their kids as props in their entire business. And I don't even necessarily blame them for doing that. But it was just something, again, the lessons I've learned is I didn't want to expose my kid in the way that I had exposed my partners in the past to just criticism. And actually a lot of that like identity theft AI stuff started really worrying me, of how like they can figure out what his face will look like in 20 years if they see his face online now. Yeah, that's creepy. I saw a lot of creepy advertising type warning things that I was like, okay, you know what, and actually I've had more fun not showing his face, because I have to think I do like social media and I like the creativity of it, and I've had fun taking the pictures candidly where he's not looking. Like to me it's almost like a challenge. And I like it. No, that's super cute. And I get it, and I think that was something I wanted to address, because everyone's like, oh, you're only letting the paid people, and it's like, I am, because this is a business and that's a strategy. And guess what? If he turns out to be a main character in something, he will get revenues in this. Like, there's a plan in these things. You know, I had one viral video on TikTok, and I'm telling you, the TikTok haters are crazy. Was your kid in it, or was it just you? Yeah, she was in it. And then my husband walked past like naked. And so I blurred him all the way out. And I was like, hey, bro, what, you know, and it was everything. Like, within 10 minutes, I was jobless, fugly, using my child to make money, which I make no money off of social media. You know, disrespectful wife because I called my husband bruh. It was off the chain. And so that was something that I'm like, you know, there's strategy in this, and how we choose to show our children ultimately is our choice. And some people like you that, you know, and these other influencers, that this is their full-time job. If you're a mom, the possibility of you being able to be a full-time content creator and also have a child is nearly impossible. Yeah, I don't fault anyone for doing this. Yeah, whatever, this is the kind of economy we live in. This is the kind of world we live in. Do whatever you got to do. Yeah, as long as, you know, it's bringing you joy. I think sometimes these like hobbies or these creative outlets that then become monetized can quickly turn sour and can quickly start to feel very hard, struggly, toxic. So I always just say, you know, obviously intuition is important. Women's intuition, your gut is your guide, and like, just listen to that. Once it starts to feel off, you got to pivot, or you got to figure out another plan. But like, I'm all for women doing whatever the fuck they want. Right. And making money however they want. Yeah. No, I agree. Did you get any backlash for saying motherhood is not that hard? No, I haven't gotten much backlash about any of the mom stuff I post, except for the vegan child stuff. And again, I think it's very little. I don't remember any direct feedback from motherhood not being that hard. Again, that's like my perspective of, I thought it was going to be so hard and ruin my life. So in hindsight, it's actually... I'm still here, guys. It is hard. It is hard. It is hard. I don't know. Where did I say that? I can't remember. I don't know. But on YouTube. I was watching mostly YouTube. Yeah. And I was like, wow, you know,
And it depends on the day.
I was just about to say it depends on the day.
If I would have listened to that on Monday when I was in Utah with my nanny going down. No, I was at the spa working and it was great. I was having a fabulous fucking time. Great. But then if I would have listened to that this morning while I'm prepping for these interviews, sweating out of all my outfits, my husband decides to go for a fucking hike without any communication. And I'm like, okay, yeah, give me the baby. I haven't even showered. I'll go be on camera. That's fine. I would have been like, wow, fuck you. It is so hard today.
I think someone caught me on a good day and I was coming from a place of I thought it was going to be the thing that broke me and ruined me.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been. So it's challenging, but I also can accept a challenge and like go for it. So that's, I think, where I'm just coming from in that headspace. But yeah, like every single day there is a moment of like, holy, like stop screaming or like stop whining or like just eat that thing I gave you.
Right, it's delicious and nutritious.
But like, don't you find it so hard to articulate any of this to a degree where anyone would understand? Even between moms, it's really hard. Like, because that moment is so fleeting and it's trumped immediately by the cuddle or the snuggle or the cute little word. It's like two extremes at once that cancel each other out.
It's entrepreneurship, but in a Sour Patch Kid. Like, I mean, there's moments in business where I'm like, oh my God, we're fucking awesome. We just launched Target. We just launched Safeway. And then we're like, wow, we could be sued for that all in the same day. And now these employees don't want to work. Should we cry? You know?
Yeah.
But then you get the Band-Aid of the cute child hugging you and you're like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah. It's super up and down, bipolar. I don't know what you want to call it. And it's very disorienting and destabilizing.
Yes.
And yet you get used to it. Like, and so you just, and you think, if I can do this, then I must be, I'm thinking about this all in real time right now. This has not been reflected on, but like, it's almost like giving me more self-worth and like more self-love being a mom.
Absolutely.
Because I can fucking do anything at this point.
Anything.
So bring it on. And that's why I say it's not hard.
Right.
But it is fucking hard to balance all that. And I don't think everyone is capable of it. I don't. No. Just like not everyone's capable of being an entrepreneur.
Right.
Definitely not.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. Okay, back to dating. Yeah. What is fair play?
Oh, fair play? Okay, wait. I want to get her name right. This woman, this author wrote a book called Fair Play.
Okay. We'll have to link it if you're suggesting.
Yeah. How long have you been married?
I've been with the same man for 6 years.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm only asking because I just wanted some context for like your husband and your relationship. There's also a movie called a documentary on Netflix where they turned the book into a documentary, except it's not coming up. Hang on, Fair Play book. But wait, basically what it means, and this is a topic that now that I'm telling you and your phone's in the room, you're going to get your whole TikTok algorithm is going to skew. Because I was going through this moment with my kid's dad where I felt like, again, this idea of the mental load and the emotional labor always falls on women. We've been conditioned and brainwashed and groomed to be that.
We're the primary parent. We are groomed to be it, and then the children immediately see us as it.
And so does your partner.
Yes,
often.
yes.
And so Fair Play talks about also this idea of weaponized incompetence, how men will act like they don't know how to do something because they know you're going to deal with it, or the idea that the school automatically calls the mom, or all the moms have each other's emails and the dads are fucking out to lunch and don't know what's going on. They don't know
golfing,
when the kids appoint. This kind of the thing how you said your husband went out on a hike and didn't tell you because he has autonomy, he has freedom to go do that where you don't. That's the idea of fair play. How can we bring more equality and balance back to the dynamic, particularly heterosexual relationships, because it deals with the kind of like patriarchy and the male role versus the female role. So this author has all kinds of just like tools for couples bringing balance back. The idea also about like just task delegation, like the men will always say, well, just tell me what you want me to do. Make a list and I'll do it. Okay, making a list requires thinking, writing a list, following up that you actually did the damn thing. So there's all these steps that go unseen. There's all this labor that goes unseen that falls on women's shoulders.
Yeah.
And to change that is going to take centuries.
Oh, yeah. But we won't be here when it's different.
But there are couples who are trying and attempting to. There's even male creators talking about this on TikTok. So there are some men who are doing the work.
Okay.
They're listening to women. They're trying to understand and they're trying to do better. So, it's about all the invisible labor is the word I was looking for that goes into one single task being accomplished. So if you're like, look, husband, I need you to take care of dinner Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That means you plan the dinner. You think about everyone's dietary needs. You go to the store and you get the stuff. You make sure the stuff's in the pantry so that you don't double buy and waste money. Like there's literally 1,000 thoughts that go into that men are unaware of. So it's like training them to do that.
Yeah.
So that's that whole idea of what fair play means and bringing that back to the relationship.
Got it. And I feel like, I got a good husband, but I got him because he was traumatized before. Like his ex-wife and he was a single dad for 6 years.
Wow.
With 3
Those
kids.
are the older kids, the twins that you're talking about? Okay, cool.
And so love my kids, all of them. But, he was traumatized in a way that he had to do all of this as a single dad for 6 years. And so the thought of him having any help is he's always so appreciative. But then there are things where he also has a big boy job. So when he's not home, it's like, for 10 months, the nanny would get off work at 3:45 because she had to go pick up her kid from school. And you never got off work until 6. And so I'm the one taking the career hit,
And that's often the case, right? Like it's kind of not even spoken about. It's just that's what happens. You take the career hit. But why? I don't know. I mean, again, it's all kind of built into a system that we've just been told is how it works.
Yeah. So in these ways, even when you have a good partner that is more aware or very helpful around the house, primary parenting is still such a heavy load.
For sure.
And they don't even think, one time we got into an argument and I named off all of the things that the kids had texted me and asked me about. Resumes, college applications, tours, doctor's appointments, haircuts, all in 1 week. And I said, did you even know any of this stuff happened? And it's crazy because he didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that my fault or his fault?
Can I say, and I don't know your dynamic, you don't have to talk openly about this if you don't want to. I sometimes would say, it'd be so nice. And men will often default to this. Well, I make all the money, so you are responsible for everything else. That's not fair. But that's what men will do all the time. I make all the money. I work all day, so why would I come home and make dinner? Yeah. So they think that, again, their labor is equated to pay. Women do all the invisible labor. We don't get paid for doing the majority of the things we do around the house or childcare related or anything. But men definitely see their time as valuable and therefore should be paid monetarily for what they're doing, because men will often go and buy their boss a gift or do all these things at work that they completely just let go of when they enter their home. We actually talk about that a lot in my marriage. It's like we give our best selves to everyone, and even the way that we communicate with each other at home, right? Would you speak to your employee like that? You have to come in with some type of respect or it's just not going to work. I think even the author of Fair Play says something to the effect of, and I'm terrible at quoting quotes, but something of like, or maybe it's Brene Brown, but like the idea of running your family and your household like the most important corporation.
Yep.
Because it is.
Yeah. We have quarterly meetings.
Totally.
We do all the shit that we do in business. We bring it home, and I don't know yet if that's going to be like the best thing. Like I'm also have been divorced once. He's been divorced. I'm not out here giving marital advice by any means. But
sometimes I feel being divorced must give you more, obviously, education and corrective, things.
Which I'm sure you get. It's almost the same sense of restructuring boundaries and what's important in a partner and a long-term partner. A lifetime partner when you have a child, right? Because you're not going to ever date anyone with any of those same things as before.
I hope. Oh God, but we make mistakes, don't
we? We make mistakes, but I do think that it opens another layer of like, oh shit, you know, like, oh, now I have to go through with the divorce, or oh, now I have this child to consider, right? Like a new awakening of what you want in the next relationship that's forever. So yeah, I mean, we both had a practice marriage, and now we're big time.
Yeah, I love that.
You know,
oh, I love that you fused all these kids together. Like, how crazy is that?
I know. We got really lucky because we have the 3 teenagers, and then we have the baby, and it could have went all the way fucking sideways where they don't like their younger sister, but they're absolutely obsessed with her. And so I feel like my experience as a mom with these 3 helpers and lovers and like this, you know, the kid dynamic is so great that I'm having a really fun time with it. And I'm going to be really sad when they go to college.
Yeah, is one of them must already be
he's our untraditional, right? So he does not want to go to college. He started a handyman company, which he is busy. We're also not great examples of the traditional route. My husband, very successful, took him 10 years to even complete his undergrad. I think that when I turned 33, I was like, oh, you know, what were you doing at 33? He's older than I am. And he's like, I think I just finished law school. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm trying to go toe to toe with you because I'm just competitive. So I guess I'm in a good place, right? But, you know, to my point, we're not great examples. I dropped out of college and then found success. I sold a company, you know, building this company.
But I think this is even better. I think the more kids that can be encouraged to kind of go their own way and listen to their hearts and not follow these like, I mean, I'm the same way, right? Like I didn't want to do the same thing everyone else did and waste time in school or whatever. School can be good if that's what you enjoy, but I just was like,
and
no,
I think
I
it's
get
necessary
out there.
for specific industries
for sure,
which our twins will be very much more traditional. We're looking at the schools. Our twin boy just went to Yale business camp over the summer. He's like crushing it, and our daughter has like, she's very matter of fact about what she's going to do in life. Like she's really structured and organized. So I'm super proud of them, really traditional. And then we have the older one that's untraditional, that we have bets. They don't know this. So if they listen, it's so funny. We're like, who will be the wealthiest of the children? Right. And so we have bets, and I'm not going to say it out loud the chance that they do listen, but I'm hoping to win my $100.
You really do have a corporation you have to manage, but I know. And that's not, you know, we live in a capitalist society, but yes, if we could put that same amount of care into the family unit, into the walls within the house, then I think it could be very efficient. I'm all about efficiency, and I'm certainly not in a position like this at all. So I don't know what the next thing will be for me. I don't even know if I even want to repartner, to be honest. I don't know. I'm at that point where I'm just like, I don't know if this is worth my time.
I actually think that's the best place for you to be in, because, and I say this, when I found my husband, I had hit that point. I was building a company. I was extremely broke. We had a team in India, so all of my calls were at night. So getting dressed up and going on these dates was such a waste of fucking time. And I finally told my best friend, I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing it. And she met my husband at a networking event. And I think when I had no expectations is when she met him, and she convinced me that we should go and grab coffee or a drink, and it would be great for my network or whatever it would be, like just go. And I had never dated anyone older than me. I had never dated anyone with children. I had also, being half Asian, had never dated anyone Asian. He is half.
I find that very fascinating.
Very fascinating, yeah. A lot of like daddy issues. We can get into that.
That's a whole other podcast episode.
Right. But all of these things in my head when I was looking were standards and requirements. And when I stopped giving a shit and I kind of like gave up.
Yeah.
It was when exactly who I needed found me, and all of these great things started happening in my life. I met him. I sold my company. We started having a really great time. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm just going to keep coming back while I'm having fun. And then now here we are. And so I think that you're in a really great space. It feels different.
I like your story, and it gives me hope. Of course, I want to listen to that story and then throw it out the window, because I don't want to because what tends to happen is we go, oh, now I'm going to look for that. No, you can't be looking. You have to just give it up.
You got to give it up.
But everything you're saying is very resonant with me. So I get it, and I am open to anything. Right. But I know what I know is that I don't trust myself
except for me
now. I don't trust myself to make a good choice at this
Really?
point. So I got to work on that. Yeah, I really feel like, oh God, I'm going to fall into the same trap again.
Yeah, you've got to.
I like to focus. I want to focus on my kid and just focus on my business is going through a weird time right now too. So I feel like that should be my focus, right? Like get back to feeling. Again, you know that your kid's only a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel like, who the fuck am I? Like,
yeah, you're recreating yourself.
So I feel like I'm in that still. And probably they say 7 years postpartum, you don't really reintegrate or really like, that's crazy. So,
well, and it's not like your goal ever was to be this like mommy food blogger. You didn't want, you had this rapid transition, this quick pregnancy experience. And now here you are on the other side. And your business, you're the main character.
There's something too where I feel almost split and I want to feel like they're integrated. I feel like here's the mom and I enjoy that. And because I co-parent, it's funny too, because when I don't have my kid, I really quickly forget. I go out and do something and I'm like, oh yeah, I have a kid. So I feel like there's two people that are split off from each other and I'd like them to feel more like, integrated and fused together or something. I don't know.
You're going to figure that out. What do you share on your members?
So I actually just ended the membership. It's been 3 years and I ended it only because I was, what I'm doing right now is I'm more or less trying to be a chef for hire. So you can hire me for in-home meal prep, vegan events, private events. I just did like this private birthday party for like a fan of mine. So it was like a surprise.
Oh, wow.
So just like very, unique culinary experiences. I'm available for that. And because I decided I was getting sick of creating content, which I really was getting burnt out after 10 years, I decided, you know what, I'm going to end the membership. Although it was kind of fun. And I originally started it postpartum as like a way to like still create, make money. I needed to find another like monetization tool. So anyway, I've canceled it now, and like I only had about 300 or something members. So it's no longer available. Basically, you can buy the past sort of issues. I have recipe collections that you can still purchase. But it was just a move I made literally this spring to end it, and then become a chef for hire and start getting my feet wet with like in person, like actual cooking, which I haven't done. I've been behind a screen in my home kitchen for 10 years. So I've very rarely done like a public events. I did some around my book tours, like some like pop-up dinner stuff, but now I'd like to be more like just out there. Need to get out.
I love this new space though. I'm excited to see how it goes and to see you in action. I think that, like you're such a light and you're really lovely to have in person. So I couldn't imagine like the experience that these people are going to get booking you out for chef services.
I've only done like a couple things so far, but I get so much out of it. It's really rewarding to hear people's reactions to your cooking. I mean, it's my art, it's my like medium. And again, people who aren't vegan are the ones often eating it, who aren't strict vegan. So they're always surprised. And I just love, that's what I love. It's like, great.
I have one last mom question before we close it out. What kind of milk does your son drink?
Oh, he drinks soy milk, organic soy milk. The ones that are just soybeans and water. So they're full fat, no binders. And it can be fortified with like iron and stuff like that. But the one I happen to buy at Trader Joe's is the cheapest and doesn't have any additional fortification. So we went right from breastfeeding, some substitute formula that was plant-based formula to soy milk. Yeah.
Awesome. I was just very curious.
Yeah.
I'm like,
soy milk is the best one for kids because it has the most fat. Whereas oat milk is primarily sugar and oil.
That's why that's my
almond
favorite.
milk is pretty much water. So soy milk just is the most nutritious actually for kids, and all that soy stuff. If people are already rolling their eyes, it's all a myth that soy is bad for you and that it's going to give you boobs or something. Because the whole thing is, if it gave us boobs, we'd be drinking it by the gallons, us women.
Yes. I had to do soy-free, dairy-free for 6 months while I was breastfeeding. And let me tell you, if you are talking shit on soy, then you should probably just try to go soy-free. It's almost impossible.
Do you have an allergy?
My daughter was intolerant. And so for the first 6 months of breastfeeding, I had to be soy and dairy free.
Can I tell you something? Again, take with whatever you will from this. Because most of the soy is fed to animals, people develop soy allergies because it's in the animal feed and then it's in the meat. And that soy is low grade GMO Monsanto soy.
Got it.
So you're allergic to the pesticides.
Wow.
That's the issue with soy and why people are saying, well, soy's bad for you. Why is everyone allergic? Because it's in the animals.
There we go.
So
I love
for thought.
yes. I like a little food from thought from Lauren now. Lauren, where can we find you? Where can we buy your book? Tell me everything.
Thank you. Yeah, you can find me online at Lauren Toyota, spelled like the car, at Hot for Food. Those are my Instagrams, my TikToks. My blog is out there, as you mentioned, hotforfoodblog.com. The books you can get anywhere you buy cookbooks, Amazon, local bookshop, anywhere. And if anyone's listening that would like a chef, I'm here.
Yeah.
You can basically just reach out over anywhere, but my website has like a contact me to book a consultation, like intro call. And I think that's it. I'm online. You can basically just find me if you put my name in.
There we go.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming and joining us today. It was truly a pleasure.
Lovely to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. Cheers.
Cheers. I drank all my wine. You did it.
Welcome to season 2 of OnlyMoms. And I can kick things off without giving a little treat to all of my favorites. So if you're new here, I founded a winery, co-founded actually with my business partner, Kristen Taylor, called Mom Juice. And we're all about keeping the bullshit out of wine. So not only do we slap our ingredients on the back of the label, but we are also gluten-free, vegetarian. Yeah, not all wine is vegetarian, okay? You might just be drinking fish bladder, and that's fucking gross. Regardless, we're giving you 20% off today. So all you have to do is go to momjuicewine.com and at the end of your order, put in OnlyMoms as your discount code and treat yourself, girl.